last section of the book that I've been reading from is very personal and very political. Now, the last poem that I read was about the death of my father, and while that is very personal to me, it is not something that I feel may offend someone or may trigger someone. And that's why after I decided that I was going to, in fact, read that poem, I didn't feel as anxious, I guess, as I do about the next few poems, because, as I've mentioned, they can be political and they can be personal. So, for example, I have poems that I have written about things like mental illness and depression, things like suicide, just stuff that has been about in my own life and the life of my friends. And a lot of this is poetry that I have written as sort of a comforting factor for friends or stuff like that. And that can, I recognize, trigger people. If I have a poem about depression or suicide and there is someone who is going through that, then I feel like I should recognize that and acknowledge that at the beginning of the video. And the same thing with potentially offensive poetry. If I write a poem about my perspectives and the fact that, for example, I am an atheist, I don't believe in God, then I feel like I should warn people ahead of time, because I don't want something that I say about my beliefs or lack thereof to offend someone who disagrees with me. So I'm going to make that attempt from now on to introduce the topic of my poem at the beginning and give a warning in case something will potentially trigger or offend someone. Alright, okay. So, that being said, I am just going to read one relatively short poem from this book. It is a poem called On Forest Fires and Burning Bushes. And it is a poem about, I guess, environmentalism. And it uses a lot of religious metaphors, so hence in the title, Forest Fires and Burning Bushes. And, I mean, it goes off of the theme of, in the first line, is the earth has died for our sins. And it kind of, again, it goes on to use a lot of religious metaphor and simile to talk about environmentalist things, I guess. So, this is more of a political poem than a personal one, but for those who feel uncomfortable with the environmentalist message or with talk of religion and religious metaphors, specifically this one brings up a lot of Christian metaphors, and I know that, for example, there are people who feel that you should not use the Lord's name in vain, and again, I don't know much about the system of beliefs and I guess the line between what can and can't be said about religion according to those who are religious, so I am just going to warn you ahead of time that this may offend a religious person. And this was solid enough to walk on, and that will be no miracle. You see, nailing hands to wood leaves holes in our palms just big enough for our thoughts about giving a damn to slip through, and we don't realize that for every tree that gets cut down, someone throws away a pamphlet on why we should save the rainforest. For every Garden of Eden that gets destroyed, someone replaces it with a nuclear power plant. For every person who claims we're insignificant, there's a kid named David with his slingshot at the ready, proving that a single stone can make a difference. This world took more than 7 days to create, and will take more than 7 days to destroy, and if we're not careful, we'll find ourselves praying for another resurrection instead of trying to fix our mistakes. And when Mother Earth asks why we have forsaken her, we will have nothing to do but hang our heads in shame and realize that it is just too late. So, yeah, that's a relatively short poem. Again, I hope it didn't offend anyone. Like I've said, I don't really know where the line is between what is and isn't offensive when it comes to religion, especially something like Christianity, since I was raised Hindu myself. So, I apologize if this offended anyone, and I hope that it made you think a little bit. And yeah, I hope you liked it. I'm going to try and come back to doing more videos about my own poetry, because that is initially why I decided to set up this channel. It's because I wanted to do videos of poetry, since I no longer really have an outlet for that. As I think I mentioned in a previous video, I used to do slam poetry in college, and since graduating, I have moved to an area where poetry slams are far less common. So I'm trying to use this as an outlet of sorts, a way to get my poetry out there that I think is a little bit more interesting than just posting notes on Facebook. So I hope you liked it. I do have another video in the works, a different, more experimental, I guess, video with more sounds than whispers. And because of that, my videos this week and maybe even next week, depending on how long it takes to finish, might be sort of like this, just one cut, very simple, even a little bit rushed. But once I get this project done and posted and uploaded and everything, then I will try and go back to a more usual schedule. And that'll be it. I will see you guys next time.